Okay, guys, here we have two of my games from Title Tuesday, and one I played it with the Pirc Defense, the second one with the King's Indian Defense. Now, I chose them for a very specific reason. This one, for example, I'm playing a 2600 player, and notice how he started with a very aggressive burn variation. But after a few moves, you're going to see how I'm applying my C6. We covered this already. You're going to see how the game takes the shape of the 150 attack, lesson number 70. So the burn, lesson number 96, but then quickly we start using ideas from lesson number 70. If you're new to the channel, guys, we have an entire playlist on the Pirc Defense, and the same thing for the King's Indian Defense that you will see in the second game. Now here, I'm hesitating a little bit because I know to take on h6. We've talked about this so much. I'm not going to castle to the king side. This is okay, but I was just thinking of maybe just castling instead of taking. But I wanted to respect my opponent. We're playing a very strong player, so I want to be careful. Now here, Queen b6. We're going to see with the engine what the engine thinks, but I just wanted to deploy my queen and quickly strike the center. Now my opponent is still not decided if he's going to go to the king side, to the queen side. But this is something where you're about to see, guys, is very common. They start with the idea to play aggressively, but when you react the right way, they just castle to the same side. Now, taking on b2, I did not even consider it because I was afraid of my queen getting trapped. Now, this idea that you're going to see next, guys, I learned it from a book, the book that I have listed in the description of this video, and I thought it was great. I thought it made sense. I just bring the queen over to be able to castle, but you're going to see that the engine did not like it at all. But that's going to be for the analysis afterwards. So queen c5, queen f8, keep that in mind because it could come handy if your king is stuck in the center and you need to castle, right? So everything changed when my opponent decided to castle to the king side and play quietly. Now, from this moment on, I just need to develop my bishop from c8. That's the biggest concern I have. And just play chess, guys. We made it to the middle game safely. And now a5, simply to make c5 available for my knight. From c5, I could go to e6. From e6, I could go to d4 and f4. And this is something that we know. We know where our knights want to go. And of course, the white pieces don't really have good squares for the knights because my pawn on c6 is very, very powerful, taking away the d5 square. And my pawn from g6 is doing the same thing. So here I'm trying to decide, should I take and open up the a file or not? So I went ahead and did it. Then knight goes to b6, and that opens up my bishop to get out. I'm thinking of bishop e6, of course, but even bishop g4 could be nice with a tempo on the queen. Now rook d8. Notice how both of my rooks are on the best files they could be. Now queen d2. What is that for? I wanted to take advantage of that by doing knight c4, but that queen, guys, is headed to h6, and I cannot let that. I cannot allow that to happen. So I think here, if I remember correctly, I just went king g7, not giving my opponent any counterplay. Yep, king g7. And now my opponent, he's still looking for ways to complicate the game. Now, don't forget, psychologically, there's a lot of pressure on my opponent. You see, f4, he wants to be aggressive. He's a stronger player. He needs to prove something here. If I get a draw, I'm okay with it. He's not okay with that. Now, every time we move a pawn in chess, we know weaknesses are created. So pay attention to that diagonal from a7, or actually g1 to a7. So knight c4 is a move that we had in mind. Before, it wouldn't work because they would do queen h6. Now it was perfect. My knight is hanging, but I'm also attacking their knight. So they need to be very careful. If they take on f4, that knight of mine is going to go to e5 in front of an isolated pawn. Guys, all of these things you should know at this point in the course. All right, so they took, I followed through, and now look at that pawn structure on the king side. Now, queen e5 is a move that I like a lot. If it's right or not, I don't care, because I'm centralizing my queen. I'm putting pressure on g3, putting pressure on c3. And my opponent, he really did not want to let go of it. And more importantly, he wanted to continue to create complications. So I'm not going to take the pawn because then there could be a discover attack on my queen. However, I did consider b5. Also, I was thinking of something like knight g4 and then try to create some checkmate threats. But b5 to me was a safe bet. I knew that the bishop had to go back to d3, and after bishop e6, then they have to give me material. Guys, this bishop on c8 hasn't played. It came later, and this reminds me, not that I want to compare myself to Bobby Fischer, but many of the games where Bobby Fischer played the King's Indian attack, he would leave the queenside bishop behind, and then when everything was settled, the bishop would come out and finish the game. So here, my opponent knows he's in trouble, and I think he played a few more moves, and here you're gonna see me actually applying, or actually trying to not make the same mistake I did in the last Title Tuesday. Instead of being careful, guys, I continue to play aggressively. That was one game that I showed you where I had the advantage, but I decided to play defensively and my opponent got me in trouble. So I'm not concerned about e6. I did take a look at it, but I realized if I go rook a1, then they're just in trouble. So I took a few seconds, rook a1, and now after knight f2, I'm threatening discover check. And if they take, well, the bishop on b1 is going to be hanging. So, so there you can see me celebrating. That was actually a nice win because it was a very strong opponent. Now you can see here 90% accuracy. Just it's allowed to brag a little bit. And guys, you see c6 was marked, knight b to d7 marked as inaccuracies, but I like them because they keep me in my elements. Now queen c5, look at this. The engine marked it as a blunder because I should have taken the pawn for free. If the rook goes to b1, I go queen a3, then go to f8, the same idea. But I did not even consider it because I know typically that's a poison pawn. So I play mechanically and I shouldn't have. But the important thing is that I always had a plan throughout the middle game, and that's what I want you to do. Play your opening, get to the middle game safely, and then play chess. Now, knight c4, good move. All of this made sense. Queen e5, come on. I'm not going to think of that move. Of course not. I needed my knight back, and then queen e5. And then b5, bishop e6. Knight g4 was also a good move, but I wanted to go for the safe bet, which is give me the exchange, right? So here we take queen d4, and then also I was happy to see that rook a1 was the right approach here instead of taking care of e6. So there you go, guys. Second game, it starts like the English opening, which, by the way, we're going to start to learn the English opening soon, step by step, like we did with the King's Indian defense, with the Pirc, and so on. So this turned into a King's Indian defense. This knight a6, we covered it on lesson number 85, and my opponent decided to exchange, to just exchange in the center. At this point, I'm not concerned about anything. This exchange variation is not that aggressive, and I just decided to do c6, the same move, guys, that you saw in the Pirc. And it's just with the same objective. I need to keep the white knight away from d5. So queen e7, trying to bring my rook to the d file, which is also what we did in the other game. So as you can see, all of these ideas, you could use them in both openings. Now, next step, what should we do? Well, I need my knight to get to d4. So I'm going to bring the rook over to control d4 along with my pawn, along with my bishop from g7, which indirectly is putting pressure on d4. And then you're going to see, guys, something that all of you should know, like I said before. My knight from a6, pay attention to it. It's going to go to d4. It looks like I want to go to d3, but I don't really want to trade my knight for that bad bishop. Instead, I'm going to go to e6 and d4. Now, sometimes I go knight c7, knight e6 if c5 is not available. But in this case, d4, c5 was available, so I'm going to d4. And the funny thing is that there's not much they could do now, guys. I'm going to have a powerful knight in the outpost. We started to learn about it on lesson 52. My opponent cannot do the same thing. And by the way, we're playing a strong international master 2500 player they know all of these. But it doesn't matter how much they play these, they're never going to know it more than we guys. If we play this over and over, we're going to become really comfortable with these positions. So bishop e6, just trying to develop, trying to connect my rooks. No, I didn't. Well, I thought I had done that. Instead, yeah. So this is another plan. I want my other knight to come in and add more support. So if they ever take on d4, I could replace it with another knight. Now they're trying to prevent me from doing so. And now the question is, should I trade my good knight for their bad knight, which is at the edge? Of course not. So instead of going to c5, I'm going to f8, then I'm going to e6. So there are different ways to get to the same to the same destination, right? So here we go, finally 96. And not only do I want to replace my knight on d4, but this knight could also go to f4. And these are things that I know from before, right? So knight f4, two powerful knights. And guys, this is just an ideal position for a King's Indian defense player. Now, I think my next move, you're going to see in the analysis, the engine did not like it. And that's something to keep in mind. Sometimes we get these beautiful positions and we feel like we need to justify it. And guys, don't forget, pretend like this is your game. What would you do? I was here trying to look for ideas like bishop takes h3, knight takes e2, all of that. And I finally did queen h6 with the idea to do pawn g5, pawn g4. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys thought of way better ideas, but that's all I could come up with. You're gonna see what the engine recommends at some point here, which is pretty powerful, but I just did not think of it. Now here, this is when the engine recommended, guys, bishop g4. It did not even cross my mind. I did think of knight takes knight and then something like bishop g4, trapping the queen, but of course it didn't work. But bishop g4 directly, it didn't even cross my mind. Also, notice how my rook is on the same file as our queen, so that's something else. I knew that something had to be in the air. Tactics have to be in the air. But anyhow, I go bishop d6, they take. Now, this keeps getting better and better for me, and I just decided to activate my bishop. It's not doing something to help me attack the king, so I'm going to put it on that new diagonal. All right, so they just move out the way, and I really wished I could just do something like knight takes h3. So g5, not only to do g4, but also to break that pin that the bishop has on the knight. So now I could really think of knight takes h3. Of course, it needs to make sense, but it's definitely in the air. All right, so they had to take. Of course, I take with the bishop to keep it open, and I'm gaining a tempo on that rook. Now, next move, I think my opponent saved the rook, of course, and I think the engine recommended pawn to d3 afterwards, but I was so focused on that king, guys. If you look at the king side, I have 3 pieces and they have nothing. So I knew that something had to be in the air. Now here I'm doing queen f6. I'm also thinking of bringing my rook to the g file. But yeah, f4, I knew that could happen, but I was ready to just take and then sacrifice. Now here, this next check is very important. I want to attack diagonally so that the king cannot hide, right? So they have to block with the rook. The rook is pinned, and now my rook is ready to come in with everything it got. Now check, the pawn on h3, very powerful. And after rook d2, I'm trying to do rook takes bishop, deflecting the queen, and then I collect the rook. But I also knew that my rook could come into the game. Now here I did h5, trying to do bishop g4, just putting pressure, and my opponent just missed the checkmate in one move. Believe it or not, I was there thinking, move the rook, and they actually moved it. So guys, before I let you go, look, in this game I got a brilliant move. I always brag a little bit when I get a brilliant move. And before I let you go, let me quickly show you the analysis of the game, just for you to see more or less the mistakes that we made as well. So like I said, we started, we got into the King's Indian defense. All of this you should know from lesson 85. The knight goes to d4, and then the other knight wants to follow its footsteps, right? So up to this point, ideal position. The engine didn't like my knight f4, but I did. And queen g5, the same thing. Queen h6. Look, it's inaccuracy after inaccuracy. I missed bishop g4, so blunder for my opponent, blunder for me. And again, this is a 2500 player, guys, making these mistakes just like me. Now, for me, it's normal. I don't think for him it is, but it is a lot of pressure. G4, I was so proud of this move. The engine didn't like it. D3 was just more energetic. But again, I play mechanically. I need to be careful with that next time. So D3, if the bishop takes, then we just capitalize on that pin. Now, bishop E5, I should have done queen G7 because the pawn is pinned, right? Checkmate. So I did not think of that. And here, yes, brilliant move. I didn't think it was brilliant, but it was definitely a nice move. My rook comes in with everything it's got. And then my opponent missed the checkmate, but we had rook G8 coming to continue to put pressure. So there you go, guys. Last time you saw me blunder my queen. This time you saw a 2500 player miss a one move checkmate. So that makes us all feel a little bit better. So with that said, I will see you in our next video.